Chapter 50. Meaning of the number. After adjusting his position, Chen Ge finally managed to discern the blood message that was left on the mirror. It was another Arabic number, 2. There was nothing scary about the number itself, but the fact that it was written in blood did up the scary factor slightly. What does this number mean? After the black shadow left last night, I saw a 3 on the shattered mirror, and now it has become 2. Is there some kind of relationship between them? Why is the number decreasing? Chen Ge was at a loss. Could they represent some kind of countdown? Looking at the drying blood stain, Chen Ge leaned against the door and started to contemplate. The mirror monster has already entered Jiang Peng's body, so there was no reason for it to leave this message behind unless it plans to come back for revenge. Chen Ge considered this possibility, but he couldn't confirm it. He knew too little about the other world and the mirror monster. Suppose the number continues to drop. What will happen when it reaches 0? A bad feeling rose within Chen Ge's heart as he paced around the entrance of the bathroom. Could the number be related to my life? When it reaches 0, my life will be over like those tropes in scary movies? Chen Ge stopped himself from overthinking. I suppose there's nothing else for me to do for now, but wait for tomorrow night to arrive. If there's another number that appears around or within the haunted house, then I'll decide what to do. Chen Ge sighed deeply. All he ever wanted was to keep the haunted house his parents left for him alive, and if it was within his means, he hoped to improve it. But there just had to be these accidents that screwed with his plan. When he returned to the staff break room, several police cars had arrived outside the haunted house. The main city's investigation team had come to ask Chen Ge some questions and snap a few pictures of the crime scene before joining the others to pursue and capture Jiang Peng. Inspector Li accompanied Chen Ge, but even when the sun climbed up over the horizon, there was still no news of Jiang Peng being captured. However, Inspector Li promised Chen Ge multiple times that with the condition Jiang Peng was in, he would not be able to avoid capture for long. He would be caught within the next 24 hours. Honestly, Chen Ge was not that worried about Jiang Peng. He was feeling down because he was concerned about the number that had been left behind by the mirror monster. Inspector Li thought that Chen Ge was reeling from trauma, so he consoled him as best he could before leaving with the other officers after daylight. Chen Ge was left alone in the haunted house. He opened the window to allow the morning draft to caress his face. I'm the owner of a haunted house, the lord of ghosts and spirits, so to speak, but how come I feel I am so pitiful? The morning rays filtered into the room. The rag doll left on the bed turned as if carried by the wind and fell underneath the bed. Chen Ge picked it up and poked it on its tummy. The only specter who listens to me only knows how to act cute. In a real combat situation, I'll probably need to protect you. The rag doll seemed to be unhappy with Chen Ge's evaluation of her. She tried to resist but could not do anything. The rewards from both nightmare missions were support skills. They are useful for the development of the haunted house, but don't really help me personally much. Even though Chen Ge had no idea what the numbers meant, he refused to let himself be toyed with by some mysterious forces like that. Taking out the black phone, Chen Ge clicked through the app for a long time and realized his only trump card was the scary-looking red specter, Jiang Ya. When he was at the wooden hut behind Ping An Apartments, Jiang Ya had helped him once, tipping him to Wang Qi's presence. Technically, she had saved his life. However, during the nightmare mission, when the mirror monster tried to drown him in the bathtub, she had not appeared. This went to show how cavalier she was with Chen Ge's life. Completing her bloody heart mission will enable me to get her to do something that is not against her will. Maybe I'll be able to get her to help me deal with the imminent danger. Chen Ge clicked on Jiang Ya's name, and even his courage that had been cultivated from a young age started to waver as he looked at the bloody red interface. But this lady likes a dead Chen Ge. What if the affection level rises too fast and she can't wait for me to join her in the afterlife? Not everyone could accept a specter's admiration that easily. After exiting the app, even the air around Chen Ge felt fresher. The Bloody Heart mission will be my final resort. If the mysterious number appears one more time tonight, I'll have to complete the Bloody Heart mission. After making that decision, with a plan forming in his mind, Chen Ge fell back to sleep. Shu Wan came to work at around 8 a.m. Chen Ge left the haunted house in her capable hands while he went to purchase the surveillance cameras with Uncle Shu's money. He was in such a hurry because there were too many blind spots around the haunted house. It was too dangerous. On top of that, one of the Black Phone's daily missions was for him to install surveillance cameras and security devices. After the purchase was made, Chen Ge had the workers come to the haunted house that afternoon to install the devices. With him personally watching, the few workers installed the cameras in most corners of the haunted house, with their hearts shaking, forming a surveillance web that had few blind spots. Even though Chen Ge planned to purchase listening device as well, due to limited funds, he only got the cheapest one and had it installed inside the Minghun scenario. At 7 p.m., after the final testing was done, Chen Ge received the mission success alert on the Black Phone. Congratulations for completing the easy mission, reward earned, background music, wedding dress. Note: wedding dress is the perfect accompaniment to Minghun. The Minghun scenario's scream factor has been upgraded to 1 star. Chen Ge was surprised when he saw the phone alert. The original scream factor for Minghun was only 0.5 stars, but with this new music, it was upgraded to 1 star. Looks like this music is even more disturbing than Black Friday. Wanting to immediately try it out, Chen Ge played the music. It was a completely different style from Black Friday. One was a slow, insidious burn, like a force slowly dragging the listener into the dark abyss. The other was weirder in nature, a mix of wedding music and funeral music. The new track caused Chen Ge's skin to crawl from the first note alone. It does fit the Minghun scenario perfectly, but constant exposure to it will probably cause unwanted psychological trauma. Unless someone comes to challenge the haunted house, I'd better keep it to myself for now. Chen Ge saved wedding dress to his own phone before returning to the 3rd floor alone to clean up the place. He did not have enough funds to hire cleaners, so with the dolls snuggled in his pockets, he cleared out all the mirror pieces he could find on the 3rd floor. When he was done, it was almost midnight. Chen Ge held his phone as he wandered between the bathroom and the staff break room. He looked at the mirrors carefully as he waited for midnight to arrive. Chapter 51. The Choice. With dark circles under his eyes, Chen Ge stood before the mirror hugging the dolls. 1 more minute until midnight. The lights in the bathroom were off and Chen Ge stared at his reflection in the mirror. Afraid that he might miss out on some details, Chen Ge did not dare to blink with his palms on the sink and his face close to the mirror. He focused all of his attention on the mirror. When there were only several seconds away to midnight, the phone in Chen Ge's pocket vibrated. A call? Who would call at such a time? The sudden phone call startled Chen Ge. He hurriedly pulled out his phone, and the caller ID was Inspector Li. Has there been some kind of accident? Chen Ge answered the call and put the phone beside his ear. Uncle Sanbao, have you got an update? On the other end of the phone, Inspector Li sounded serious and hurried. Jiang Peng is still on the loose, but we've come to the conclusion that he's still around Western Jiang. You have to be careful. The man is incredibly dangerous and cunning. His actions and thinking are different from normal, and we cannot rule out the possibility that he will return for you. But didn't the police set up a perimeter around New Century Park yesterday? With injuries on both of his arms, he shouldn't have been able to get far. From Chen Ge's perspective, he had been sure Jiang Peng was going to be captured. There was an unexpected development. For now, I cannot give you the details, but what I can say is, last night, one of the officers who managed to intercept the suspect experienced some kind of trauma. He's currently in a deep coma and being looked after at the hospital. What? Chen Ge's expression shifted, and he was about to say something when he glanced at the mirror on the wall out of the corner of his eye. A bloody Arabic number of 1 had surfaced on the mirror when he was not paying attention. But don't worry, the police are closing in on him. Justice always prevails. Inspector Li continued to talk on the phone, but Chen Ge's mind was already elsewhere. He placed the phone down and looked at the mirror dumbly. When did this appear? The mirror monster has already left, so why would the number still appear on the mirror? Chen Ge was reminded of what he had seen in the bathroom the day before, where half of the mirror monster's body was outside the mirror and Jiang Peng had voluntarily walked forward to merge himself with the creature. What does this number really mean? Yesterday it was 2, and today it is 1. Does this mean it'll become 0 tomorrow? The dropping number caused Chen Ge's eyes to dim with concern. After Jiang Peng was possessed by the mirror monster, the number started to drop. When Inspector Li mentioned the coma of the officer, the number dropped again. Does the number represent the number of victims? The mirror monster needs 3 living victims. Regardless of the real meaning of the number, Chen Ge could not wait anymore because it was now related to innocent lives. A great sense of urgency appeared in his heart. The mirror monster is growing stronger and stronger. Tomorrow night might be my last chance already. Chen Ge picked up a dirty cloth to wipe the number on the mirror away. He could not play it safe anymore. After a few more words with Inspector Li, he ended the call and then entered the props room with the black phone. It is now a new day. The daily missions will have refreshed already. Now the only thing that might help me are the Red Spectre's Bloody Heart mission or the new Nightmare mission. Chen Ge tapped into the daily mission interface of the app. Easy mission. A normal haunted house experience should not create permanent trauma to its visitors. I hope you understand this simple theory. Please improve the haunted house's security by inspecting the security threats hidden around the haunted house. Normal mission. You've achieved the criteria to enable the first expansion of the haunted house. Do search for a suitable location soon. Due to space limitations, you are unable to perform any trial mission to unlock scenarios. Nightmare. Mission. There has always been a second occupant inside your room. Wouldn't you like to meet said person? Beware. The more difficult the mission, the more dangerous it'll be, so please choose carefully. After reading all 3 missions, Chen Ge's eyes fell on the Nightmare mission. The other person inside my room? Just the description of it makes me uncomfortable. Chen Ge knew the possible danger of the Nightmare mission perfectly well. After a long hesitation, he chose to open the Red Spectre's page instead. Are you sure you want to accept Jiang Ye's Bloody Heart mission? Warning, this mission contains a certain level of danger. The app kindly provided Chen Ge with a warning. He rubbed his temples, unable to come to a decision. Both of these missions have a certain degree of risk and danger. However, the rewards of the Nightmare mission are random. There's a high chance it might just give me another supportive skill. In comparison, the Bloody Heart mission. Jiang Ya has been given the special title of Red Spectre, and even her own personal page on the app. This means that she is probably a powerful specter, at least several levels higher than the mirror monster. With her help, I should be able to survive this crisis. After thorough analysis, with a grit of his teeth, Chen Ge clicked on Jiang Ya's Bloody Heart mission. Are you sure you want to accept Jiang Ya's Bloody Heart mission? Yes! The red interface started to change and peel off like wilting roses, and soon a new message appeared on screen. Andersen's Fairy Tales Volume 1, Book 3, Red Dancing Shoes. Once upon a time, there was a pair of ruby red dancing shoes that could make the dancer who wore them light on her feet and perfect at her dance. However, none of the dancers dared put them on because they were a pair of magical shoes, one that would make its dancer keep on dancing until they perished from exhaustion. Please arrive at Western Jiang's private academy within 1 hour from accepting the mission and locate Jiang Ya's red dancing shoes before dawn. Warning, don't be late on your first date, or she'll be very unhappy. Chen Ge did not know what to feel after reading the mission details. The private academy had been abandoned several years earlier due to unknown reasons. However, Chen Ge had heard plenty of scary rumors about it. My first date with a girl is at an abandoned school after midnight. Am I that unlucky at love? The mission required him to be at the private academy within 1 hour. Chen Ge calculated the distance in his mind and realized he still have some time left. The private academy is at this part of town, so not that far away from me. The biggest issue is going there after midnight. Sigh. I'd better go take a bath first. No matter what, this is my first time. After a quick shower, Chen Ge changed into a clean outfit. He stood before the mirror to inspect his image. There are 50 minutes left. Why am I feeling so nervous all of a sudden? Chapter 52. First Date. After taking a few deep breaths and splashing cold water on his face, Chen Ge finally calmed down. It's time to go. Chen Ge retrieved the backpack that he had used last time and placed Jiang Ya's love letter, a power bank, and tool mallet into it. After the lesson from last time, he put the penknife directly in his pocket and the doll left behind by his parents inside his shirt pocket. He was bulging all over the place, but at least he felt safer. After packing everything he needed, Chen Ge locked the haunted house and rushed out of New Century Park. It was 12:15 a.m., so there was little traffic on the road. He waited for another 10 minutes before he managed to hail a cab. "Sir, please get me to Western Jiang's private academy. I'm in a hurry, so please drive faster." "No problem, get in." The driver was an easygoing, middle-aged uncle, and the radio in the car was playing hit songs from the 90s. Chen Ge sat in the back seat and used this downtime to search for online information related to his current mission. The first thing mentioned by the phone when he accepted the Bloody Heart mission was Anderson's red dancing shoes, so that was the first thing Chen Ge looked for on the internet. He managed to find the original source, and after skimming through it, Chen Ge felt rather petrified. The original plot was not much different from the Black Phone's version. It described the story of a young girl who was gifted a pair of beautiful red dancing shoes. She loved them so much that she wore them everywhere, including to church where she was cursed to dance forever. She was afraid, helpless, and exhausted. In the end, she begged the woodman to chop her legs off. And then came the most curious part of the fairy tale. After the legs were chopped off, they danced away into the forest, still wearing the red dancing shoes. Is this even a fairy tale? It added to his nervousness, since his mission was searching for Jiang Ya's red dancing shoes. When I won the cursed love letter, the Black Phone did provide a brief description of Jiang Ya. She was wearing a bloodied school uniform and red dancing shoes at the time of her death. So could the fairy tale be real? The red dancing shoes couldn't be taken off after they were put on? Chen Ge's skin crawled. Different from his previous missions, this time he was going face-to-face with a red specter, one that had a bloody heart mission, something that could only be given by specters with heavy resentment. Looks like the key to tonight's mission is the red dancing shoes. Chen Ge read the fairy tale again for a few times. The main lesson to be learned here was to not be vain, but be humble at all time. Was there even a reason for the Black Phone to refer to this fairy tale at the start of the mission? He could not figure out an answer, so he decided to focus his energy on searches related to Western Jiang's private academy. The school was closed after just 2 years of operation and had been abandoned since then. With regards to the reason for its closure, there were plenty of rumors online. Some said it had to do with lack of budget, whereas others complained about the high semester fees. Chen Ge scrolled through all the information patiently, and Jiang Ya's name did not even appear once, like she had nothing to do with the school at all. There has to be something more sinister about the closure than what's been speculated online. Chen Ge looked at the streetlights out the window that seemed to be running backwards, and he squinted his eyes in thought. Just what kind of ending could a girl experience to turn her into a red specter? Why would she harbor such deep resentment? What does all of that have to do with red dancing shoes? While Chen Ge was deep in his thought, the volume of the radio picked up. He turned toward the source with shock and realized the driver uncle had been looking at him via the rearview mirror. "What's on your mind, young man? You have such a sad face." The driver was a quintessential chatterbox. He had attempted to start a conversation with Chen Ge when Chen Ge entered the car, but Chen Ge had ignored the man, mostly because he was busy looking up information. "So much has changed in my life recently that I'm struggling to get my head around it. Feeling rather swamped at the moment." Chen Ge smiled politely as he put his phone away. "Slow and steady wins the race. I'm sure everything will work out in the end. If you're that stressed, do what I do. Play some disco music, and after a few shakes, you'll feel much better." The driver grooved along to the music. At least the man is optimistic, thought Chen Ge. "By the way, why are you going to the private academy so late at night? That place is mostly abandoned, and it's not close to any residential area." Chen Ge's lips fell open, and eventually he answered, "Going on a date." "A date? At this kind of ungodly hour?" The driver glanced back at Chen Ge. "It's true. I don't know how to explain it. The girl is a bit hard to please and has some weird quirks." Chen Ge tried to normalize it as best as he could. After all, he had not been asked out on a date before, and being invited to one did make him feel quite good about himself. That's a good thing. What are you worried about? Worried that she won't like you. Then again, what kind of person goes to a date dressed like you? Listen to me, even guys need to know how to dress these days. Look at that backpack. It goes against the rest of your outfit. The floodgate of the driver's mouth had been opened, and Chen Ge did not even know how to respond. A normal person going on a date would have been happy and overjoyed, but his date was more like a coercion and a desperate move to save himself than an actual date. A gentleman mustn't be too forward. Don't start the conversation with random topics like the weather, compliment her, and be a good listener. After all, the first impression is very important. Listening to the driver's advice, Chen Ge had half a mind to play wedding dress on his phone so that everyone could have a little peace and quiet. The taxi zoomed through the night. The cars on the road and the buildings beside it had gotten increasingly sparse. Even the streetlights had started to disappear. The signs of civilization outside the window started to disappear, and the road was slowly swallowed up by the forest. The driver glanced at the GPS and asked Chen Ge, "Are you sure you got the right address? Other than an abandoned school, there's nothing down the road." "Yes, I'm sure. Just drop me off near the school." "How much?" 19. "Do you mind paying me via WeChat? I just started my shift and I don't have spare change on me." "No problem." As Chen Ge grabbed his phone out of his pocket, the penknife bounced out of it as well. The knife sat quietly on the cushion, causing the driver who spotted it to lean surreptitiously forward. The driver moved his hand to lower the volume of the radio. As he did so, he stealthily used his pinky finger to press a button on the machine. None of this escaped Chen Ge's eyes. However, there was nothing he could do but continue to smile. He believed the uncle had mistaken him for some kind of late-night burglar. Transaction successful. Chen Ge put away his phone and glanced at the driver's seat. "Uncle, you're recording this to report to the police?" The driver, who was in the middle of drinking from a bottle of water, coughed violently as he waved his hands about vehemently. "I can understand why you're doing that, but—" Chen Ge turned to look at the eerie outline of the school in the dark. "I'm really here for a date." Chapter 53. The chair is moving. The driver's face was pale and he laughed awkwardly. "Then good luck to you." "Thank you. So do you mind stopping the recording now?" Chen Ge flashed a smile that he thought was friendly. "This is just a misunderstanding." "Of course," the driver answered readily. He pressed some random button on the machine. After driving for another 2 or 3 meters, the red light on the driver's walkie-talkie lit up. He pressed it lightly, and before he could say anything, a rough, gravelly voice appeared. "Lao Liu, you're also near Western Jiang's private academy? What is wrong with people tonight? I also have a passenger with me who wants to go there. Actually, we're quite close. By the way, what is this message that you sent to the group? I am meld postage?" "It's nothing. Just focus on your passenger." The driver swiped the sweat on his forehead away and quickly hung up on the walkie-talkie. "That should be, I am held hostage, right?" "Uncle, didn't you say you trust me?" Chen Ge asked with his eyebrow raised. Afraid that the driver uncle might just call the cops on him, he said, "You can drop me right here." "Yes!" The driver was quick to follow his instruction. Chen Ge even managed to see that the man's legs were shaking. Chen Ge looked around to make sure he did not leave behind anything. After he got out and closed the door, he looked up and saw the running sign on top of the taxi say, "I am being held hostage. Please call the police." "Uncle, you sure are creative." The taxi left Chen Ge like it had grown wings. Several seconds later, the several hundred meters around Chen Ge fell silent. It was a starless night like it was going to rain soon. The rain clouds were hanging low in the sky, blocking out all light. Chen Ge pulled out his phone to look at the time. There were still 8 minutes left until the designated time. Just now, inside the car, the person on the walkie-talkie said he's also bringing a passenger to the private academy. That person is coming here at 1 a.m. Could it have something to do with me? Chen Ge reminded himself to be careful. If not for the time limitation, he probably would have hidden himself in the brush by the side of the road to see who was following him. Only 8 minutes left. I'd better go familiarize myself with the layout of the school first. I'll need all the advantages I can get. The area surrounding Western Jiang's private academy was a piece of deserted land. There were no streetlights, only a single road cutting through heavy forest and shrubbery. Flipping on the flashlight on his phone, Chen Ge followed the road for another 100 meters before reaching the abandoned school's front gate. The chains and the iron bars had already rusted together. The gate was too heavy to even budge. Looking through the bars, all Chen Ge could see was darkness. How do I get in? Chen Ge paced around the gate. He tossed his backpack over the gate first before taking several steps back. With a running start, he grabbed hold of the bricks on the wall as he jumped over the outside wall. The school compound was not big. The whole area could be seen with one glance. There were several tall silhouettes standing in the dark like solitary watchmen. The school sign had long since been removed. Chen Ge himself did not know what the real name of the school was. Like everyone else in the city, he only knew it as Western Jiang's private academy. The overgrown shrubbery had swallowed up most of the path. It scratched Chen Ge's legs at every step, making him feel both ticklish and painful. I've managed to arrive within the designated time limit. Now my mission is to find Jiang Ya's red dancing shoes. Chen Ge pulled out the mallet from his backpack. Feeling the icy metallic touch on his skin, Chen Ge felt much safer. Using his phone as guidance, Chen Ge walked deeper into the school. He only took several steps before he felt something was wrong. He stopped moving and took several steps back. Is it my imagination? How come it feels like there is something pushing me into the school? And when I tried to walk backwards, there was a mysterious force blocking me from behind. Chen Ge turned to look over his shoulder, but there was nothing there. He used the phone to shower some light behind him, and there was nothing like ghost or spirit as he has imagined. Could it be that she's already here? Standing behind me? Only I can't see her? Chen Ge shivered. The thought of swinging the mallet at the space behind him cropped up in his mind. But he thought, what if Jiang Ya is really behind me and this swing angers her? He was a mere haunted house owner. He was practically defenseless, stranded in this deserted school. He shuddered, thinking about the ending should he manage to anger a baleful specter. In any case, I should go in first. Chen Ge pulled his backpack higher as he walked into the school, holding up his phone and the mallet. The night darkened, and a draft picked up. It even carried a light dusting of rain with it. The most probable locations where I will find the red dancing shoes are either the female changing room at the dance studio or Jiang Ya's former bedroom. I'll have to focus on these two locations. Chen Ge headed toward the building that was closest to him. The trees inside the school had grown into twisted shapes, and the wild grass had grown up to Chen Ge's waist. There were statues that littered the school compound, and most of them were human figures. All in all, the place radiated an air of eeriness in the dark. The girls' dormitory? The dormitory building was not tall, only 4 stories high. However, it did look creepy, probably due to an extended period of abandonment. The glass door of the building was locked up tight using a metal chain. Chen Ge leaned against the glass to take a closer look. The doors on both sides of the dark corridor were tightly closed, but curious enough, a solitary chair sat in the middle of the corridor facing away from the bedroom door. A single chair is left right in the middle of the corridor. Is there some special meaning to this? Chen Ge leaned back from the glass door. Both the main gate and the hostel entrance have been locked, and the corridor doesn't seem to have any trash in it. This goes to show that when they were closing the school, they cleaned the place up first, so why did they leave a chair right in the middle of the corridor? Just a mere coincidence? If the chair was purposely left behind by the school management, then what is the meaning of it? If it was not left behind by the school, then who moved the chair to the middle of the corridor after the place was locked up? Chen Ge aimed his phone at the glass door. The chair was placed around 5 meters away from the entrance, and there was a broken hall light right above it. The light is already broken, and the electrical wiring is even exposed. Chair and wiring, is it me or that looks like a hanging scene? Honestly, after seeing this curious scene, Chen Ge's heart had started to palpitate. I'm probably just overthinking. He looked left and right. The breeze caused the leaves to rustle. The school after dark was hauntingly creepy. I can't scare myself for no reason. After all, Jiang Ya, the Red Spectre, is the scariest presence at this school. I have her love letter, so who dares to challenge me? Considering the situation, this was the only way Chen Ge could console himself. Furthermore, this is just an affection mission. To put it simply, it's a special kind of date. There's nothing to be worried about. He gave himself a pep talk, and when he was done, he walked back toward the glass door with the mallet. He was about to smash the door when his eyes caught a shocking detail. The chair that should have been right under the hall light had moved 1 meter away from the light fixture. It seemed to have moved forward. Fuck! This was the first time Chen Ge experienced something like this. What just happened?